Welcome back to History Podcast. I'm your host, Gustavus.
And I'm Christina. Today we have a story that, well, it feels less like a major historical event and more like the world's most intense eviction notice.
That's a perfect way to put it. We're heading to 1713 to talk about the Skirmish at Bender, a truly bizarre standoff between the King of Sweden and the entire Ottoman Empire.
Right. So set the scene for us, Gustavus. How does the King of Sweden end up in the Ottoman Empire in the first place?
Okay, so it starts in 1709. King Charles XII of Sweden, a big-shot military king, gets absolutely crushed by the Russians at the Battle of Poltava.
A huge, devastating defeat.
Massive. So he and his remaining soldiers, they flee, and they end up in the Ottoman Empire. The Sultan treats them as honored guests, gives them sanctuary, grand titles, the works.
Which is nice, for a little while. But Charles decides to stay for 5 years.
He wasn't just vacationing, though. He was actively trying to persuade the Sultan to join him in a new war against Russia. He was a king in exile, constantly scheming.
5 years. I mean, think about that. You have a house guest, and they bring their army, and they just don't leave.
Exactly. And pretty soon, the honored guest thing wears off. He becomes this huge political and financial headache for the Ottomans. They're like, okay, you gotta go, but he won't.
Right. So this leads us to February 1st, 1713. The Ottomans have had enough. They decide it's time for a more forceful approach. They straight up attack the Swedish camp at Bender.
And this is the crazy part. It's not a huge army. It's King Charles and maybe 40 of his men, barricaded inside a single stone house.
40 guys. And they hold off hundreds of Ottoman soldiers for over 7 hours. Charles himself is apparently firing a carbine out of a window. It's absolute chaos.
Yeah, and when the direct assault doesn't work, the Ottomans get creative. They start shooting incendiary arrows at the house.
Yes, the classic set the roof on fire tactic.
It works. The house is burning down, so Charles and his men have to evacuate. And here comes the most undignified ending to a siege you can imagine.
Oh, this is the best part. Tell them.
While trying to run out of this burning building, in the middle of this whole battle, King Charles XII of Sweden trips on his own spurs.
His spurs. You can't write this stuff. He's taken down not by a cannonball or a sword, but by his own footwear.
And he's immediately captured. The Great Siege ends with a stumble. But what I love is the cultural impact. The Turkish word for crowd is kalabalık. Because of this event, this absolute mess, the word entered the Swedish language as kalabalık, which basically means total chaos or a confusing mess.
That's incredible. The event was so chaotic, it literally created a new word for chaos.
So after he's captured, he's briefly imprisoned, but eventually released and makes his way back to Sweden. The whole thing was militarily pretty minor, but as a story?
Oh, as a story, it's top tier. It's the perfect symbol for the end of his long, strange exile. And a great lesson in, well, not overstaying your welcome.
Especially when your host has an army. That's all the time we have for today. Join us next time for another episode of History Podcast.
Thanks for listening.